Welcome to Finch Brothers Smokers Barbecue Review, where we try it before you buy it. This video is brought to you today by the Island Outdoor LLC.com. These guys were awesome to work with. They hooked me up with all this awesome gear so I could do this rebuild on my ugly drum smoker. I wanted to convert it into basically some of those newer drums you see out there on the market. They're called the Gateway drum smokers. I wanted to build my own, and these guys have everything that you need to be able to make that kind of conversion. Sorry, the video on this is kind of choppy. I just wanted to make sure that I showed everything that I did to it. I took over an hour of video and I got it buzzed down into 21 minutes. Here is what you're going to need is a 7/16 wrench. You're going to need that for everything. These are the air intake, and those are going to be what brings air into the smoker. You leave it cracked just a little bit, and the main exhaust is that top of that lid you see there. It's that small little chimney stack. And brother-in-law Chris, he helped me get through this, and you can see him putting on his welding gear. He's actually working on rebuilding some of his dad's cars, my father-in-law. They're always working on some odds and ends, and right now I've got that heat shield, and that heat shield will go in the bottom of that smoker. All it takes is some bolts, 1/4-inch bolts with lock nuts on the end, and I had 9 of them that got put into these 3 pieces. That's what it was of this heat shield, and you can see each of those on there. Hold it up there so you can see how I screwed it, got those all tightened down, and I kind of overlapped them so they'd be holding itself together. What that does is it's going to protect the bottom of that smoker. That's where the majority of the heat's going to be, and all that's going to do is prolong the life of that 55-gallon drum. So do it, and as you can see, I'm as confused as everybody else here, and you can't fit it in there because this current drum that I have, it actually has these little U-clamp clips in there, these U-bolts. You'll see them in a little bit here when I get them taken out, but heat shield won't fit in there, so I've got to do some maneuvering, just got to take those out. And what I ended up actually doing was I eliminated the ones from the very bottom of the smoker. I actually had to go to the hardware store and get some more of those 1/4-inch bolts and lock nuts just to cover those holes where those existing U-bolts were at the bottom of it. And you can see, I don't know what Chris, he's making sure he can, he wants to get his little welder going. He actually has to weld on the old Studebaker. And that's the old basket that I have. You can see at the beginning of the video that lava lock basket is going to be a lot more durable than that little wire basket that I had literally worn out. And you can see those are those little U-bolts. Sorry, the smoker's a little dirty at this time. I do get it cleaned up for later. Just wanted to get in. As soon as I got these things, I started rebuilding and filming for today's video. So now I'm going to get each one of those U-bolts taken out, because I not only have 1 layer, I actually have 2. The very bottom of the smoker, there's another 3, and actually if you saw that basket, it actually had 3 little arms sticking out from it like a little tripod. That's what kind of held that fire basket, charcoal basket, up above off the bottom of that smoker. And if you saw my lava lock, hopefully I can edit in a picture of that basket. You can see there's a gap from where it sits. It doesn't sit on the bottom of the smoker, so you can have some of that airflow getting to your charcoal, fueling your fire, and that's what continues to help produce heat in the charcoal that you're cooking on. So just hopefully I can speed this up of dinking around getting all these out, because Like I said, there's not only one on the very bottom that holds that old charcoal basket off of the bottom of that smoker. There's that little U-bolt there. So I've got 6 of those that are in there. I'll try and speed it up here. That was on the outside, and I eliminated those ones on the bottom, like I said, and actually kept those other ones, and it works perfect for holding my heat deflector shield that I got from these guys, Lava-Lock heat deflector shield. I did, again, screw up when I did put that heat shield in there. Again, you can see once I get everything out and everything taken apart, I do get that in there. But of course, I went back ahead and put those U-bolts back in on the second layer, not the very bottom. I forgot even to put those second ones in, and ended up having to take them out a second time. So got them out, got that heat shield in there, and then put the U-bolts, those middle layer U-bolts back in. As you can see, that's what the existing holes, my air intakes, were just these little slides, and I wasn't really happy with the quality of those slides, and it was never a tight seal. So I actually took this to the competition at the beginning of 2021, and we ended up tying for first place, but I couldn't finish my ribs on this because it got so hot. It was over 450 degrees. My ribs were starting to overcook, and thank God I had my brother Mike there with me, and he had his Green Mountain Grill pellet grill, and you can see that little metal slide at the bottom. I've got that last one to get out from there, and boy, I didn't realize it was going to be such a pain in the butt just to get to the bottom of it. I got short little arms and even shorter legs. You'll see me in a little bit here. I actually have to climb inside of the thing just to get the screws out. But you can see that there's those 4 holes there, and I actually have to take a hole saw and cut the holes for the new exhaust. And so those are the 2 little clips there. You can see those 4 little holes that they had, pre-existing holes that they had drilled in there for the first owner of this smokers, what they did for it. But here's that heat shield. I got everything out of there so I could get that fit in. And like I just said, it's like I instantly forgot that the only reason I couldn't get it in there was because of those U-bolt clamps. And after, I just got too excited and put those bolts in at the bottom of those holes, and I was like, oh, I can use these other U-bolt clamps, and had to take them out again. But here you can see me getting that hole saw ready to go, and later on in this video I start speeding things up just to kind of show you, because it gets a little bit repetitive, and wanted to see where I should drill it and make sure I just get as much as I can, get a coverage of as much as I can with those 4 holes, because I got to drill a bigger hole for the new air intake little exhaust tubes that you can see when I get those installed. And I couldn't get the thing started with this hole saw here. Let's see, I'm dinking around. I'm gonna try and cut this out. Oh yeah, we had the brilliant idea to try and cut it because I couldn't really, I wanted to get at it because I couldn't drill into it, and what I ended up doing was I didn't try and drill through the very center of it. I just went into one of the open holes, and that was a lot easier to cut, because this using this little sawzall, that didn't do anything with it. But I tried it, and as you can see, it didn't help at all. All it did was bounce right off. You couldn't get in the holes too big, and that's when I realized I'm not going to be able to drill through the little piece of steel that's there. And I just went and
stuck that drill bit on the inside of the far left hole, and I kind of gauged it based off of that pre-existing handle I had up there. And it started getting loud, so of course I always wear protection, get some earplugs, and here we start drilling and get those holes taken care of.
Try that. I don't know if that's gonna work. Smoking! If that doesn't work, I'm gonna have to get a piece of flat iron and drill a hole. Well, they're doing that nuts and bolts. Yeah.
Here I just had a hard time just being able to hold it in place. I probably would have been better off just shoving it up against the wall. And of course I got even smarter here in a little bit. I was I know he said he wanted to keep it lubed and he sprayed it, and I just thought the thing was just gonna burst into flames, but it didn't. And we got it cut through, and I just you'll see here in a second, I just flipped the barrel over on its side, straddled up on it, and knocked that next hole in. It was a lot easier that way. I don't know why I didn't do it on this first one. I just wanted to show you guys, get the best angle I could of where I was drilling so you could see. And like I said, I actually judged cutting that hole based off of that handle, because you could see at the top there is a screw, and here I am all laid out. Oh man, kind of funny going through, watching this and talking through this. But he helped me kind of hold it into place, and he goes, why don't you just push it up against the wall here? Because I didn't think that hard, but got her out, and yep, second hole. It was funny. Chris had asked me, he's like, he saw I was already starting to put the one together. He goes, when are you going to drill that second hole? Well, he didn't realize that I figured out it's going to be a hell of a lot easier if I just flip this thing on its side and go to town on it. But you can see, like I was talking about earlier, where the paint is kind of flaking off. That's where all that's the hottest, where the fire is, and all that fire is down at the bottom of that barrel. And that's where you can see it's been the most worn. That's why I wanted to do as much as I could to prevent that by getting that heat shield. And hopefully I got the volume turned down, because oh my goodness, that was loud cutting those two holes in there. And I just got this laid down and taking a pencil, marking the 4 holes. I'm gonna have to drill out to get that bolted on. And like I said, there's 4 at the base, and there is 1 up top. And make sure you measure where those holes are. Just taking a little pencil or Sharpie and color in. That's where you're going to want to drill the holes. I didn't measure because I actually had those pre-existing holes. If you're doing this and you want it to be as efficient as possible, I would make sure to take your time on measuring it out. And I know the Island Outdoors, they have an entire rebuild kit on their website that's available, and they have step-by-step instructions how you should measure your barrel. They have barrels, and like I said, I reached out to these guys and told them I wanted to make a video on doing a rebuild of one that I had gotten. Like I said, I just got this smoker for $100 off Facebook, and I liked it, but I just knew it could be a lot more efficient, and they had everything I wanted to do to this. And you could see me holding up the bolt, that 1/4-inch bolt that I'm going to be drilling holes out of the marked holes that I got here, and I just kind of line it up. I didn't even, I think it was a 1/4-inch drill bit. I didn't hold that up there what it was, but you can see me here in a little bit. I couldn't get those bolts through, and so I had to round the holes out a little bit more, because of course I didn't measure. I should have measured, but and got that last one marked. I actually did have a little bit of a harder time getting that top bolt through, because the neck of that was a little bit of an angle. You'll actually see me with a hammer, and I take a horn, a shaping horn that Chris had at his shop there, and kind of bent that down and just got it threaded. And once I got that threaded, that lock nut on it, it tightened right up, and it didn't take much bending. And of course, I probably could have prevented all of that if I had measured just a little bit better. But got all those holes rounded out. Here's where I start speeding the video up, because I'm kind of just putting bolts on and tightening everything down. And of course, I put everything together. Like I said, I got so excited, I re-put the middle U-bolts back in, and I forgot to use that gasket material. They have a high temperature RTV red gasket material that's for heat up to 600 degrees for short amounts of time, and that's all the hotter it's going to get on the inside of that barrel that's not touching the fire. And I had to take everything back apart and put all that gasket material on the inside of that exhaust, those intake exhaust tubes. I put them on the two openings down at the base. I'll have some pictures at the end of the video. You can see that I've got that RTV back on there, because I'll get this all built here and get too far ahead of myself and forget to grab that RTV gasket material and put it on there, so I have to rebuild. So I basically built this thing twice. So if you have any comments or any questions, you can message me. I'd be more than happy to help you as I built this thing and had to do it twice. So pretty much anybody with a 50-gallon drum that hasn't had certain chemicals or oils in it, you want to make sure you use a clean barrel. And this guy had purchased it from a different website, and he actually had a Weber kettle grill for a lid. Those Weber kettles you see out there, that's what I actually had for the grill top when I bought this thing from him on Facebook. And it worked, but it wasn't a tight seal. This lid that they gave me is super heavy duty. They welded it themselves, and actually had the brother-in-law weld the handle on. And unfortunately, it did kind of warp the lid, so I did have to get a second lid. So I would recommend, unless you're really good at welding, which sorry Chris, we are not. I don't know how to weld, and Chris is not an expert by any means. And after we welded the handle on, it actually warped the lid a a little bit too much so it wasn't creating a tight seal. But these guys at Island Outdoors LLC, they are so friendly, wanted to help me make sure I have the best, and I'm sad have the best experience I can have, and know that I'm going to be cooking a lot on this. They wanted to make sure I can have the best results, and they hooked me up with a second lid, no charge, no questions asked. Told them I had warped it when I put that on. They even included the bolt-on handle, and you'll see that on my last video. That bolt-on handle is the way to go if you're not if you don't have a welder, or you are an amateur like me and Chris. We just would highly recommend getting a handle that you can just bolt on. So you drill the holes, measure them on the lid, drill the holes, and here got everything bolted in, and had to redo that top hole to get that to sit on there. And there's it attached up top. Those are some of the holes, pre-existing holes I had left over. There's that lava box that I got in there. Here's me firing it up for the first time. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did and you want to see some more content like this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and thanks to the Good Charcoal Company for hooking me up with some of the best charcoal out there. And I can't wait to show you guys a bunch of videos that I'm going to be cooking up some great new barbecue on this brand new Ugly Drum Smoker rebuild. Thank you to the Island Outdoor LLC.com. Go check them out. They have everything you need for smoker modifications to build your own smokers. They have gasket material for virtually any smokers out there on the market today. Go check them out. Thanks again.